we are basically out of time, but I got to get you on one more thing before I let you go. Also, I learned from reading your book in terms of BCP and the basically the village that they set up for veterans. I learned that one of the reasons, or probably the primary reason, homeless veterans don't go into shelters is because of it not comfortable sleeping around strangers, which helped me to understand why, when you look at homeless population, a lot of veterans make up that homeless population. So that was an incredible thing for me to learn. But I got to get you on one more thing, and that is the issue of masculinity. And you discuss conceptions of modern masculinity and how they can complicate efforts to seek mental health treatment. I'm bringing this up because Senator Josh Hawley has a book coming out on masculinity next year in 2023. It's not out yet, but he seems to have made modern masculinity and its apparent collapse an integral campaign of his. At the National Conservative Conference, he blamed the left for their mental health problems, joblessness, obsession with video games, and hours spent watching porn. He says the crisis of American men is a crisis for the American Republic. Now, in light of the viral video of Senator Hawley running from the rioters on January 6th, I was wondering if you could speak to his conception of masculinity and what he might be missing from it.
Yeah, I actually learned that this book is coming out this morning, and my first thought was, this is like me writing a cookbook. I mean, it's like I don't know how to cook. So, look, I make fun of it. It's easy to make fun of it. Here's what I think is really important to understand about this: is that Josh Hawley, for as devious of a person as he is, and he is the most devious, he's also very smart. And this is what Josh Hawley is doing. He is positioning himself and therefore his movement, his far right white guy movement, as if you're a man, then you believe in these things, this lack of tolerance. You believe in these things. He's positioning. It's a very smart thing to do. He is positioning his political beliefs, which woven within them and hidden underneath very careful, delicate wrapping, is opposing working people getting a decent wage, opposing working people being able to organize, opposing women having any autonomy over their own body, and all sorts of things. What he's doing is he's positioning that as masculine, which is complete BS, but it's also very smart. And so I want to say, look, this is ridiculous, but it is also extremely effective. And so we have to take this very seriously. We cannot be dismissive of this. What we have to do is we have to offer an alternative and more, I think, helpful version of what masculinity is. Masculinity is not being exclusive. Masculinity is not telling people that we sit in judgment of them. And this is a real problem for Josh Hawley, because Josh Hawley wants two different groups when he eventually runs for president, which I think he thinks is like already started. He wants two different groups. He wants people two generations up from him and I, and he wants those people to look at him and say, now there's a nice young man who understands that what a man does is he gets married and he doesn't smoke pot or whatever the heck he's talking about, and he doesn't play video games. He wants those voters. But Josh Hawley also wants people who watch the UFC and who have a friend who acknowledges they've had an abortion and work with a gay person who they happen to really like. But you know what? They also they're white dudes, and they feel, because they've been told over and over and over again that there's not a place for them the way that there used to be. He wants to get both of those people. And we have to make that appropriately difficult for Josh Hawley to do, because we have to make it clear that what Josh Hawley is talking about is not masculinity, it's intolerance, and it's judgment of them and their way of life, which is a much more tolerant, even though it doesn't seem like it, it is, compared to the first group that he's going after, a much more live and let live group of people.